Welcome back to Let's Get Cooking. It's your girl Rashida, and today I'm excited to show you how to make Mother Johnnie Ruth's pound cake. It's been floating all over the internet and I had to make it. But first, have you subscribed yet? If not, please click that subscribe button and let's get into this recipe. Let's go over the ingredients for this pound cake. I'm using 2½ cups of cake flour, 2¼ cups of sugar, 3 sticks of butter, 1 drawer of vanilla extract, 1 drawer of lemon extract, and I'll let you know what that means, 7 eggs, and 3/4 of a cup of condensed milk. All right, let's start baking. Whenever baking cakes, you always want to start off by using room temperature ingredients. So if you're going to bake a cake, make sure you set your eggs out for a couple hours, set your butter out for a couple hours, and if you're using milk, cream, or what have you, set that out for a couple of hours so that everything can get to room temperature so that it combines easily, effectively, and plus it just makes a better product. Okay, so we're starting off by putting in our 3 softened sticks of butter into our mixer. And I'm using salted butter, so the recipe called for salted butter, so no need to add any salt because the butter is already salted. And I'm going to give that a quick mix before I go ahead and add in the 2¼ cup of sugar. Once I mix the sugar in with the butter, I'm going to let those mix, get well acquainted for 7 to 10 minutes. You definitely want to let your butter and sugar mix for a good amount of time till you see that them become a pale white color. There are no crystal sugars at the bottom of your bowl. You want to kind of just make it light and fluffy. So I'm combining the sugar and butter for about 7 to 10 minutes. You will definitely notice a color change, and it'll become a little bit fluffier and lighter. So we're going to just let this mix for a while. I won't mix it the whole 7 to 10 minutes on the video, but just know that I just want you to see the beginning to the end on how it looks. Definitely want to always mix well when making a pound cake. While those are mixing, let me put this time to good use. I'm about to oil and flour my Bundt pan. This is the pan I'll be using for the cake. And I'm trying something new. I was like, there's still a little bit of butter on those wrappers that I just used. So I'm using a little remaining butter off the wrappers. And I'm just going to rub that into the pan. And I'm going to add a little bit more. But just, I'm laughing at myself because, I thought, why not? Okay, so once I butter and flour the pan, and I'm using the traditional way, and that's where you put the butter or the Crisco in the pan, and then you go ahead and put some flour, or in this cake, I'm going to put cake flour in there, and you just make sure it's well coated. Nowadays, we just get a can of baking spray and usually spray it down. But for this cake, for Mother Johnnie Ruth's pound cake, we're taking it back to the traditional way of greasing our pans. This is the good old-fashioned way, as they would say. Nowadays, we just use that can of baking spray that comes in a can and we just spray our pans down. And while it's good, I think this is actually a better, more effective method. So I'm happy to be using. I use the butter and then I use the cake powder. So instead of regular flour, I use the cake flour since the cake was made with cake flour instead. And what's the difference between all-purpose flour and cake flour? Cake flour it's like, to me, a little bit more delicate, a little softer. It's going to make your cake the texture is going to be a little softer than all-purpose flour and tender. So it makes for a nice, soft, tender cake. That's what cake flour does. And I believe it has like a little cornstarch mixed with all-purpose flour. So anyway, let me wipe my counter down because I'm making a whole mess by doing that. And let's check on this sugar and butter mixture. That's what we're looking for. You see the difference? Do you see the difference? It's light, pale yellow, pale white almost color. It has almost doubled in volume. So therefore you see that air incorporated into that mixture, so it's light and fluffy. If we're starting off light and fluffy, that's going to definitely help with the end result of the pound cake. Now I'm going to stop the mixer, and I definitely, every once in a while, you want to go in, stop your mixer, and then just use this flat spatula and mix down, push down your ingredients to make sure everything is mixed, even at the bottom. So I just scrape the sides basically. Now I'm adding in these room temperature eggs, and like I said, I'm using 7 eggs, and that's what's very non-traditional about Mother Johnnie Ruth's pound cake is we're using 7 eggs. And all the cakes I've made, and I made a lot, I've never used 7 eggs in a pound cake. So I was very interested to see how it was going to turn out because 7 eggs is quite a few, but actually it turns out great. So Mother Johnnie Ruth knew what she was doing. So I'm adding in my eggs basically one at a time, but very quickly. And then it'll look like the batter is curdling a little bit as you add the eggs because that's just a lot of extra moisture and liquid. So it kind of looked like a curdled batter, but no worries, we're on the right track. Now I showed you this one egg because I cracked each individual egg in that small bowl just to make sure I didn't get any, messed up eggs before I put them all together. So I cracked one egg at a time, then put it in the bowl just to make sure it's nothing wrong. It's not a defective egg. So that's all 7 eggs. And once again, I'm going to take my little spatula and wipe down the bowls. I like to say Mother Johnnie Ruth Irving's pound cake. Some say Miss Johnnie Ruth's Irving pound cake. It's been trending all over the internet. And so I got a glimpse of it because it's Black History Month. I believe somebody put it out there. But she was an extraordinary woman who made this pound cake and people seem to love it. So that's why we're all trying it out and giving it a try. Okay, back to our steps. At this point, we're going to mix those eggs in with our butter and sugar. And now I'm adding in those drawers. On the recipe, it says a drawer of vanilla extract, a drawer of lemon extract. A drawer is like a teaspoon from the drawer. So I heard that you might want to use 2 of each. So I'm using 2 drawer teaspoons of vanilla extract, but this time I'm using vanilla paste. So I've added those to the bowl, and now it's time for the dry ingredients. What's left is our flour and the can of 3/4 cup of condensed milk. Now anytime you're adding in your dry and your liquid, you definitely want to alternate, starting with the flour, ending with the flour. So I'm going to put in part of my flour, then I'm adding half of a 3/4 cup of condensed milk, sweetened condensed milk. Then I'm going to add flour, sweetened condensed milk, and then complete it with the last batch of flour. Not to over mix. You see this is mixing kind of slowly, and I'm doing this alternating run real quick. And then I'm going to give that a quick mix. I'm going to mix it on high for just about 5 seconds. Not to over mix. We want to get all that sweetened condensed milk out of there. And even though it looks like I might have left some in the bowl, I didn't. I'm going to go back and get all of that because we want to use all the ingredients necessary to make a perfect cake. And that's that last bit of flour. So then once these are well mixed, I give it a fast run for just a few seconds, and then that'll be it. Mother Johnnie Ruth's batter is complete. It already looks good, looks delicious. It looks like the perfect pound cake batter. So I am finished. I just take my little spatula, mix up, just give it a quick mix just to make sure nothing's at the bottom, make sure everything is mixed and distributed well. And we're preparing it for the pan What I didn't say, but I will put in description, is I did preheat my oven to 320 degrees before I started baking. The cake will take anywhere from about 55 minutes to an hour, 10 minutes, depending on your oven. So I would start checking it around 55 minutes and then maybe every 5 minutes thereafter, or 10 minutes, depending on your oven. You want to make sure that it's completely done. Okay, I have my Bundt pan already floured, greased and floured, and ready for the batter. So I'm going to just go ahead and pour it all in. And then I'm going to smooth it out, make sure it's leveled. Give it a couple knocks against the counter. Get out any air bubbles. And then it's going to be ready to go in the oven and start baking. So this is Mother Johnnie Ruth Irving's pound cake. Okay, looks like the cake is ready. It is in the pan, ready to go in the oven. There she goes. I'm going to put her in my oven, which is at 320, and I'm going to check it at about 55 minutes. So there she goes in the oven, and before you know it, there it is. There is our complete finished pound cake, Mother Johnnie Ruth Irving's pound cake. That looks delicious. I checked it at an hour, a little shy of an hour, about 58 minutes. Put my knife in it, came out smooth, came out dry. So my cake was ready at about exactly an hour and came out the pan with no problem. I did let it cool for about 10 to 15 minutes before I took it out the pan and put it on my cake rack. And Mother Ruth did not put a glaze on her pound cake that I know of, so I did go ahead and just take this pound cake and I gave it a little extra love by just putting a little bit of powdered sugar on it, but no glaze. And usually I put glaze on all my pound cakes, but this one I didn't. Popped a little bit of powdered sugar on it, and there it is. That is a beautiful pound cake right there. Thanks for coming in the kitchen. Thanks for cooking with me. You gotta try Mother Johnnie Ruth Irving's pound cake. It is quite delicious, very delicious. I will definitely make it again. Thanks for watching. Remember to subscribe, like, and share. Until next time, have a blessed day and blessed